Hey guys, so this year for me is going to be a year of reading series and mostly science fiction and fantasy series. So Giselle and I tend to get all of our books at thrift stores or at used bookstores for about $1 each or $2 each or less than that, depending on what it is, what format it is. And we tend to, when we go on these little excursions to places like this, to buy in bulk as much as we possibly can. And to the point where we just kind of start amassing a lot of books. And all the books we're really interested in, we never pick up a book that we're not interested in or anything like that. But we end up with a lot. And we tend to, when we see series, these places tend to have a lot of books from a single series at the same time. So we tend to pick up the entire thing to the point where it's like, this place has 5 books in the series. They don't have the first book, but they have the next 5 books in the series. Might as well get them all and just hope that we end up getting the first one at some point in the near future. And sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't for a while. There's this one series on our shelf right now where Giselle, a couple years ago, found the 3rd and 4th books in the series, and then this year we found the 1st and 2nd books in that series, which is quite fun. But so we tend to get books for very cheap and tend to get a lot of them at the same time. And most of the time we're not like spending a lot of money on them, which is another thing that's like, we can get so many books for like less than $10 that we might as well just get this whole series and it'll be awesome. So we do that a lot, and it kind of built up this collection of books on our shelves. We get a lot of books on our shelves, but we haven't read a lot of them. And I'm going to kind of use this year to dwindle down some of the series that we've collected. And there's quite a few of them that I would just love to get through in 2017. I'm going to show them all to you. There are a few on our shelves that I'm not going to show you that I still would like to get to at some point, but that I'm not going to have my focus on this year. These are all the ones that I'm going to have my focus on this year. And there's quite a bit of them. And they're both there's some on audio. Like, I'm going to show you both the physical ones and the audiobook ones. There's a lot of stuff on audiobook that we either own or that is available to us by some means. So I'm going to show both of those different things to you. And I do have other goals besides just reading these series for 2017. I'm going to be posting a separate 2017 goals video in the very, very near future, like within the next week or so. And I'll tell you everything else that I want to do this year, book-related things, because there's a lot of stuff, but this is one of them. Reading all these series is one of those goals. And I wanted to make this separate video because like I said, there's quite a lot of them. And to show that, plus my other book-related goals in the same video, might have made the video too long. So hopefully this will go by quickly. I might not talk a ton about each of these. Maybe it depends on what they are. But I will start with the biggest physical series that I can show you. I can even pick up all of them at the same time. This is the next 5 that I need to read. I've read the first one. This is Malazan Book of the Fallen by Steven Erikson, by the way, if you can tell by those lovely spines. And there's 4 more left in the series after these 5, but I'll show these 5 to you. I read Gardens of the Moon, the first book in this series, in 2015, at the very beginning of 2015. I meant to read the rest of them. I bought them all at once on various different thrift websites, on Amazon, through used Amazon. I got them all in these like book club editions where they're like these very small hardbacks, and I kind of scoured the internet looking for all of them. It was kind of difficult to find them all. And so I decided to just do it right then and not try to do it later. I made sure I had them all in this edition just because. And I really loved the first one. The first one was really good. And I meant to read the entire series in 2015, didn't end up getting to it, and didn't end up getting to it in 2016 either. Both of those years have been kind of crazy for me. I've actually been on BookTube for almost 3 years. January 20-something will be my 3-year anniversary on BookTube. And 2014 was a great year for BookTube. I did lots of stuff throughout the entire year, and then 2015 came along, and I kind of fell out of it for a little bit, and it kept coming in and out. And same thing with 2016. I kept coming in and out, mostly due to computer issues. 2016 was supposed to be a little bit more of a stable year for me on BookTube, but it didn't end up happening because of computer issues and trying to catch up on certain things. So this year, 2017, hopefully that doesn't happen, and I can be as consistent as I want to be. But anyway, I'll get into more of my book-related goals, like I said, in a different video. But I would love to get through this series in 2017, and hopefully with a more stable year, a year that I'm giving myself more time to read, I will be able to get through all of them. So that is Dead House Gates is number 2, Memories of Ice is number 3, House of Chains is number 4, and Midnight Tides is number 5, and number 6 is The Bone Hunters. Let me just grab the next 4. gigantic books. Number 7 is Reaper's Gale, and then number 8 is Toll the Hounds, and then number 9 and 10 are Dust of Dreams and The Crippled God. For some reason, Tor decided to stop releasing them in these other hardbacks, these other editions that I've gotten, and now they all release in this edition with like these different covers and stuff, which kind of irks me a little bit, but it's the only way they're available, so whatever. Anyway, that's all Malazan Book of the Fallen, and might as well just get through like the biggest, let's just get through the biggest books first. This is a trilogy by Peter F. Hamilton. It's called the Night's Dawn trilogy. This is The Reality Dysfunction, The Neutronium Alchemist, and The Naked God, all by Peter F. Hamilton. Like I said, the Night's Dawn trilogy, and they're all over 1,000 pages long, but I really, really want to read them. I really want to get into more Peter F. Hamilton and just science fiction in general. Next year is going to be a huge year for me reading science fiction and fantasy, but I'm going to be trying to get into more science fiction because my reading on that has been unfortunately limited. Like I said, getting the biggest ones out of the way, this next series is called The Baroque Cycle. It's science fiction / historical fiction. Neal Stephenson calls it science fiction, but from what I can tell, it sounds more like historical fiction. It's kind of like a mix between the two. So Neal Stephenson, Quicksilver, and The Confusion. I'm about to freaking drop all these. The Confusion and The System of the World. So that's the Baroque Cycle. It's a trilogy. I guess actually it's an 8-book series within 3 volumes is what I have read about it. So it sounds pretty cool, and it's gigantic, and I got them all for like less than $1 each. It was at a library sale where you fill up a bag for like $7, and I filled up, these didn't fill up the bag at all. I've still put several more books in the bag, at least 10 more books inside that bag. So I got them for really cheap, and I couldn't pass it up. I had already read some Neal Stephenson and really liked it, and I'm hoping to read more, even more than just that, but that's the series that he's put out. And then I have this thing right here. This is the Age of Fire series by E.E. Knight. It's a lot of books that all begin with a dragon, and we're missing the 6th book, which I think is the last book in the series. We only have the first 5, and if I do end up liking all of them, there's no point in me not getting the 6th one. It's on Book Outlet right now. Maybe it'll stay on there by the time I get through all of these, and if it's not, then I'll just get it at some point. But it's Dragon Champion, Dragon Avenger, Dragon Outcast, Dragon Strike, and Dragon Rule, all with these really cool dragon covers, and I don't need to know any more about these than that they're about dragons, so that's all I'm going to say about them. Speaking of dragons, this is another series about them. This is the Memoir by Lady Trent series. This is A Natural History of Dragons, The Tropic of Serpents, Voyage of the Basilisk, and then the new one that just came out, In the Labyrinth of Drakes. That one just came out this past year, and there's another one coming out this year called Within the Sanctuary of Wings. That's the 5th book, and I'm hoping to get that one from Tor, so hopefully they'll send it to me. I'll try to read all that's coming out in April, I believe, so I'll try to read all 3 of these before that one comes out, and then get the 4th one somewhere, and then read the 5th one as well, and maybe do a review of it, but we'll see. You'll see how I feel about all of these things throughout weekly wrap-ups throughout the year. But yeah, that one's about dragons. That's been talked of very highly by a lot of people on BookTube, so I'm really looking forward to it. Then this next one, we only have the first 2 books here, but Giselle has the 3rd book in California, and she has a lot of books in California, actually a lot of series there as well, a lot of books in general. She has at least 1,000 more books in California. We brought a lot of them over here, but we're hoping to get all of the rest of her books sometime this year back over here. We're not entirely sure how we're going to do that. Her mom's going to be sending us a bunch of boxes of them, but we have quite a few books over there as well. But these are the first 2 books in the Terra Incognita trilogy by Kevin J. Anderson. This is The Edge of the World and The Map of All Things with the nasty sticker markings up there. But the 3rd one is called The Key to Creation. So it takes place on the sea, on ships and stuff, and it's a fantasy series, and I just really am into that kind of thing, so I'm hoping to like it. I've never read anything by Kevin J. Anderson before, but Giselle had this first one and the 3rd one, and I knew she had them, but then we found the 2nd one at the Book Barn when we went there, one time that we went there this year, and we had to get it to complete the series, so I'm going to try to read that and see how I feel about Kevin J. Anderson, because he's written quite a lot of stuff, and maybe it'll make me want to read more of his stuff. And then I have this. I just got this for Christmas. This is Traitor's Blade by Sebastian de Castel. This is the Great Coats series. There's 4 of them out. Well, there's going to be a 4th one coming out this year. and I only have the first one, but if I like this and everything that I've heard about it, it tells me that I'm going to like it very much. It sounds exactly like something that I would like, and I'm going to read this one very, very soon and try to get the other two, and then maybe try to request the fourth one from the publisher when it comes out. I'm not entirely sure. I've never dealt with this publisher before, so we'll see if they'll be able to send it to me. But even if they don't, I would still like to get it, and hopefully try to get through this whole series this year, regardless of if I only have the first one, because it sounds like the kind of series that I'm really going to like. Sam from Sam's Nonsense has talked about them quite a bit, and has really made me want to read them. And then I need to read some Brent Weeks, because I never have, and so Giselle, a long time ago, found this box set of this trilogy, the Night Angel trilogy, The Way of Shadows, Shadow's Edge, and Beyond the Shadows. And Brent Weeks is one of her brother's favorite authors, and this is one of his favorite series. And so he's told us quite a bit about them, and he told me that I really needed to read them. So I'm going to. Luckily, we have them. And I have some other stuff that I want to read by him, but on audiobook, but I'll get to that in a minute or so. And then I read the first book of this year, and the third book comes out in 2017. And the first book is called City of Stairs by Robert Jackson Bennett. This one is called City of Blades. I have this one. I have not read it. I'm hoping to read it pretty soon in the year. So I think the third one comes out in May. Pretty sure it comes out in May. It's called City of Miracles. And this one, City of Blades, just came out last year. And I'm going to hopefully read it and then read City of Miracles so I can finish that series, because I really loved City of Stairs. And you'll hear actually me talk about that a bit more very soon, how much I enjoyed that book. And then the next one is one of those instances where I found a bunch of the books in the same place, and but the first book in an entirely different place. So I found this first book at the Book Barn. It's 3 Parts Dead by Max Gladstone. This is the Craft sequence, and he has a 6th one of these coming out in the very near future. I'm not sure if it's coming out this year, but it does already have a Goodreads page, and I have the first 4. I'm missing the 5th one. So I have 3 Parts Dead, and then 2 Serpents Rise, Full Fathom 5, and The Last First Snow, all of which I found on Book Outlet. And so I have the first 4, and if I really like these, which, again, it sounds like something I'm really going to like a lot, and actually they're not that long, so I'm hoping to get through all of them. I might try to read them back to back. We'll see, and then I'll try to get the 5th one, and then if the 6th one comes out anytime soon, I will get that one as well. Next is 2 things that Giselle and I will actually probably read together, because we both really want to get into them this year at some point. It is The Snow Queen by Joan D. Vinge and The Summer Queen. This is just a duology, but they're science fiction, and we found this one. We've been wanting to read this one together for a while, actually, but we found this one at the Book Barn, and then this one was on sale at Book Outlet. So we decided to get them, and we, like I said, will likely be buddy reading them at some point this year. And then a bunch of mass market paperbacks. I read Dune by Frank Herbert in 2014 and loved it. It's one of my favorites. And so I have Dune Messiah and Children of Dune. I don't have God Emperor of Dune or Heretics of Dune, but if I do end up reading these this year and liking them enough to try to continue on as soon as possible, I'll try to get them, those next 2. And I really don't have an interest in reading the Brian Herbert series of Dune books, just the ones by Frank Herbert. So I'm going to read these and see how that goes. A ton of Robin Hobb. Giselle found all of these Robin Hobb books all together at a library sale in like 2014 or 2013. I can't remember which, but she found them all and got them all. And she's already read the first one, but I have not. I've not read anything by this author, but I would love to read all of these this year and hopefully come to love them as much as everyone else seems to. And there's Robin Hobb. So this is the Farseer trilogy, Assassin's Apprentice, Royal Assassin, and Assassin's Quest. So those 3. And we also have the next trilogy that comes after that, which is the Live Ship Traders, Ship of Magic, Mad Ship, and Ship of Destiny. And they're all these beautiful little mass market paperbacks. They're quite fun, and they fit really nicely on a shelf. And the next one is the Tawny Man trilogy, Fool's Errand, Golden Fool, and Fool's Fate. Now, I know we're missing another series that is in this overarching series of books, and there's plenty more Robin Hobb books to get, but those are the ones that we have, and those are the ones that I'm planning to read this year. And then I read some Kim Stanley Robinson. I read Aurora, and I would really liked it a lot. And he has another book coming out this year that I'm also hoping to read, New York 2140. And I want to read all of his books, especially the Mars trilogy. And I have the first 2 books in that, Red Mars and Green Mars. If I can read these and get through them quickly enough, then I'll also definitely go out and seek Blue Mars, which is the 3rd one, and try to get them all read before the end of the year. This one sounds fascinating and just seems like more must-read science fiction. And this next thing is another must-read science fiction series, and I've read the first one. I've read Hyperion by Dan Simmons, but now I've got The Fall of Hyperion, Endymion, and The Rise of Endymion, all by Dan Simmons. This is the Hyperion Cantos. I loved Hyperion. I loved it a lot, and so I'm really looking forward to giving the rest of that series a go. You'll hear me talk about all of these throughout the year, as long as this goes well. I am going to be trying to plan them out in such a way that I can get through a lot of them month by month, so you'll see me talk about all of them throughout the year in more detail. This video is already too long, and I want it to be over, so this is the last thing that I plan on reading, last physical series that I plan on reading this year, and that is The Lord of the Rings. It's this really old box set of them, and they're quite odd looking. This edition, Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers, and Return of the King, they're all quite strange looking, but I am planning on finally reading The Lord of the Rings this year, and it's overdue, quite honestly. And then a bunch of audiobooks. Let's get to the audiobooks real quick. We'll try to get through them as quickly as possible. I have already read the first 4 Dresden Files books by Jim Butcher. I would like to get through the next 11 of them. I have them all now. Giselle's brother has an Audible account, and we kind of trade Audibles and library cards with people from like Overdrive and Hoopla. We trade all these different accounts with people that we know, because then we get access to a lot of different stuff. So we traded Audible accounts with her brother, and he had all of these Dresden Files books on there, and so I'm going to read all of them, try to get through all of them this year. And The Wheel of Time, I would really love to listen to all of the Wheel of Time books. I can get them through Overdrive, and I would really, really like to get through all of the Wheel of Time books this year. There's 14 of them, so I don't know if I will be able to. I'll at least try to get through at least one a month. I don't know if I'll be able to. I don't know if I'm going to like it or not. It's one of those things where like I really want to like it, but I'm not sure if I will or not. So one a month at least, and then maybe 2 will overhang for the next year, but we'll see how that goes. And then I would love to read Lightbringer by Brent Weeks, and like I said, I'm going to be reading the Night Angel trilogy, and then we have Lightbringer. Giselle's brother had the Lightbringer audiobooks on his thing, and he also had the Iron Druid series by Kevin Hearn, which is an 8-book series. I'm not sure if it's still ongoing or not, but it's very similar to the Dresden Files, and he loves them. Her brother loves them, and recommends them highly to anyone that likes the Dresden Files, and so I'm going to give those a shot because he has all of them. And then Destroyer Men by Taylor Anderson. This one sounds kind of fascinating. It's about like a battleship that gets transported to a different time period or a different world, like a fantasy world or something. I don't entirely know, but they sound kind of both ridiculous and awesome at the same time. So there's like 11 of those, but there's a 12th one coming out this year. So we'll see if I like them all and listen to all 11 of them. Maybe I'll continue on with the 12th one as well. But he had all of those as well. He had all 11 of them that are currently out. And then I would also like to finish The Unhewn Throne by Brian Staveley. I read the first one, The Emperor's Blades, at the end of this year, just like a month ago or so, and liked it and would like to continue on with those. And then I would also like to continue on with the Pillars of Reality series by Jack Campbell. I read the first 2. There are still 4 more. And I have the next 2 on Audible already to listen to. And then he has a companion series to that series. I think it's called The Legacy of Dragons. I can't remember if that's the first book's title or the series title, but I'm pretty sure the series title is called Legacy of Dragons, but the first book comes out this year as well. So I'll probably listen to that sometime this year. And then A Pattern of Shadow and Light. This is one of those things where it was released through self-publishing first and then picked up by Podium Publishing, and I've had good luck with that this past year with Kel Cade's King's Dark Tidings series, so I'm going to give that a shot as well. It's narrated by Nick Podell, and I would love to listen to more things narrated by Nick Podell, and that's where the next one comes from, is Casts and Outcasts by Davis Ashura, and that's also narrated by Nick Podell, and is a trilogy that's already all available in its entirety on Audible. So I already have the first book in that one and A Shadow of Pattern and Light in my Audible already, so I'm going to be listening to those probably in January and getting through the both of those trilogies. And then there's a trilogy called The Cycle of Aeron, and this one is narrated by Chim Gerard Reynolds, and that's kind of why I'm going to be trying to give it a shot. And also because it's offered as a full trilogy on Audible. Like you can get all 3 books in one on there, and you don't have to pay for each one separately. So it's like a 66-hour audiobook, but it's 3 books in total. So I'm going to give that a shot and see how I like it. It's a fantasy series. And then I would like to finish Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket. I read the first 7 in that series, and I have 6 more left. And I would like to finish also Partials by Dan Wells. I just listened to the first book in that trilogy, and then the next 2 books, Fragments and Ruins, I would also like to get into. And then there's a bunch more series that I just found on Hoopla. If you don't know what Hoopla is, it's very similar to Overdrive, except for there's no like waiting for it, because it's kind of silly to have to wait for a digital copy of something through the library. You get put on like a waiting list, even though there's no point in that. But Hoopla kind of lets you get past that. The only thing is Hoopla has a certain amount that you can check out each month, depending on the library, and we have access to several libraries through Hoopla, so we can get quite a few. Between Giselle and I, we can get quite a few audiobooks through like the 4 different libraries that we have through there. They also don't let you speed it up past 1.5, which is kind of sucky because I usually have to listen to at least two times speed, but I'm going to try to find a way around that. I'm not sure if I'll be able to or not, but I'm going to try. And then there's a lot of stuff on there that I would love to get to, like Alistair Reynolds' full Revelation Space series is on there. There's a bunch of Peter F. Hamilton stuff on there, like Misspent Youth, Pandora Star, and Judas Unchained. That's like a little trilogy kind of thing that goes together. Although I've seen it not include Misspent Youth before, I'll probably just read Misspent Youth, Pandora Star, and Judas Unchained. So then they have the Dreaming Void, the Temporal Void, and the Evolutionary Void, which is another little trilogy. And then they also have the Abyss Beyond Dreams and A Night Without Stars. Those two to go together. And then they have the entire Change series by S.M. Sterling as well. And I started reading the first book in that, Dies the Fire, and because I have a mass market paperback of it, and I got through quite a bit of it, and liked it enough, but kind of got into a huge reading slump, especially right before Giselle and I went on our wedding and honeymoon. So I kind of fell out of reading for a bit. That's like when our computer trouble started happening. I just kind of got out of reading for a little bit. But they have the entire thing on audiobook, so I might give that a shot. They have a ton of Ellie Modesitt Jr. series on there, and I don't know if I like him or not. I've never read anything by him before, but I've seen his name enough, and he has enough books out that I might as well give him a shot and see if I like him. And if I do like him, then I have a ton of his series to read now. The entire Recluse series, the entire Spellsong series, the entire Corian series, Imager portfolio, the Forever Hero. There's a lot of them, so I'm gonna give those a shot and see how I feel about them. And then they have Dan Wells' other series, I Am Not a Serial Killer, on there as well, which is also something that I would be interested in giving a shot to. So that's everything. That's a lot. It's a lot of series that I want to get to this year, but I think I can do it. I'm going to give, like I said, a lot more time to reading this year, and I'll tell you what more my bookish goals are in another video, and maybe you'll hopefully see that I'm not entirely crazy. And because this is most of what I'm going to be reading this year is this, which is why I decided to do a separate video on it. Most of what I'm going to be trying to read is this stuff that I'm showing you right now. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see how this goes. Wish me luck. I might need it. Let me know if you know anything about any of these series, if you've read any amount of the books in any of these series. I would love to hear what your thoughts are, what you compare any of them to, what you feel about any of them, whether you like them or dislike them. I would love to hear, or any of the authors in general. I would love to hear what your thoughts on any of that are. Please let me know, and it might help me kind of weight what I should get to next over other things. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you later with more.